My primary goal is to reduce dependence on fossil fuels, and obviously oil is a primary culprit, coal and oil, and so we're approaching that in a variety of ways. We don't know really how much oil will come out of the Monterey Shale, but we're concerned about the process. We're concerned the fact about Californians driving 28 million vehicles. How do we reduce dependency on oil in general, regardless of where the source is? And so I'm working also hand in hand, not only in dealing with the regulatory side of fracking if it moves forward, making sure we protect our air and water supply, but also looking at it as an approach to really accelerate the investment in alternative fuel vehicles. So I have a different bill that continues to invest in rebates and other strategies to get people out of their gas-guzzling cars and into a cleaner or fuel-efficient car or an electric vehicle. And so it's a balancing act here in California. Just the process of hydraulic fracking or fracking in general using acid or other kinds of well stimulation needs to be regulated here in California. It's already undergoing. I think the administration's regulations are too weak. There's no transparency, there's no accountability. Regulations at least would give us a handle of where they're fracking, what's the source of water, what's the potential air pollution, what is the long-term potential of contamination of groundwater basins and water supply. But we require a trigger through that process of now requiring oil companies having to get a permit through DOGGR. Now the permit, which would trigger a wholesale sort of review of the process, would have to maybe address, this is my hope, greenhouse gas emissions as part of their permit process. It also, through a required study paid by the oil companies, but actually implemented by the Secretary of Natural Resources to get an objective science-based study, they would be directly charged with carefully studying greenhouse gas emissions, the implication of fracking here in California and how that fits in the bigger picture of reducing our use of fuels in general, and how fracking fits into that overall picture. But we do have to be very mindful of the carbon intensity of this operation and the implication of greenhouse gas emissions. Right now, we're importing way too much from whether it's Texas or foreign countries that don't have our best interest in mind. That's we haven't we've done better in any other state of people driving alternative fuel vehicles or buying more fuel efficient cars, or we have a scrappage program that I'm trying to accelerate, getting rid of the oldest, most polluting cars and allowing people of all economic levels to get into cleaner vehicles and getting them out of the car to begin with. So it's we're not going to transition overnight. So I don't think fracking here in California is the defining defining final thing we have to do that's going to switch us into the other direction, because unfortunately too many Californians will still want to drive their vehicle around, and they're still using way too much gasoline.